Right now, tonight at 5, more than 7 years after his arrest, the trial of triple murder suspect Bryce Rhodes is underway in Louisville, but Rhodes wasn't in the courtroom today during jury selection. It's our top story. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. Rhodes is accused of brutally killing 2 teenage brothers in 2016 after police say the boys witnessed him killing 40-year-old Christopher Jones. Alexis Jones reports from the courtroom.
After sending out hundreds of jury notices, the court is working to narrow down the jury pool to 60 people ahead of opening statements. Potential jurors were asked a series of questions Monday. Ultimately, 12 of them will decide if Bryce Rhodes is guilty of one of Louisville's most heinous homicides. Police say Rhodes murdered 14-year-old Larry Ordway and 16-year-old Maurice Gordon after they saw him kill 40-year-old Christopher Jones back in 2016. According to police records, the teen brothers were stabbed, tortured, and burned. Since then, Rhodes gained more charges while in jail, including attempted escape, terroristic threatening, and assault on officers. He also has a history of outbursts, where he focused on a judge in 2020.
Are you some type of racist? Are you got some type of sexual relationship going on? Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything that you've made a motion for?
Are you a secret Ku Klux Klan member?
No, sir, I'm not.
Is that what you really are?
However, Judge Julie Carol says this kind of behavior will not be tolerated in her courtroom. Friday, she explained what will happen if he causes a disturbance.
What's going to happen is I'm going to just pause and the jury will be escorted out of the courtroom because they're not going to know you're in jail, right? So you're not going to be shackled or anything. They're not going to see you coming in or out of that door. The whole point is that they do not know that you are in jail. So they will be escorted out of the courtroom and then we're going to have a talk. And I'm going to give you the option of either staying in the courtroom with like this cuff on your leg that deputies can use to shock you, but I'm not going to make you wear it. You don't have to. You will be given the choice of either staying in the courtroom with that device on or just being in the back, or going back. It'll be your choice.
Initially, Rhodes was facing the death penalty, but Judge Carol took it off the table, saying there is ample evidence Rhodes has a serious mental illness, but says he's eligible to stand trial. If convicted, Rhodes faces life in prison. Opening statements are scheduled for Tuesday afternoon. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS11 on your side.
Right now, Bryce Rhodes is behind bars at Metro Corrections, is being held on a $1 million cash bond, along with murder. He's also charged with abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence.
Well, the road show is underway once again in Kentuckiana. If you traveled over the Kennedy or the 2nd Street Bridge right in downtown Louisville this morning, you may have noticed so many more cars on the road than usual. That is because right now the Sherman Bridge connecting Louisville to New Albany is shut down heading into the state of Kentucky. The bridge shut down eastbound Friday night at 10 o'clock and is going to remain closed for over a week. It'll reopen the morning of Wednesday, December 20th. The Sherman Bridge Renewal Project says the closure is to allow crews to work safely as they move into the next phase of their project.
At least 26 tornadoes were reported across our region over the weekend, packing winds of up to 150 miles per hour. The hardest hit spot was near the Kentucky-Tennessee line, where the National Weather Service has determined a deadly EF3 tornado was on the ground for about 43 miles across Montgomery, Todd, and Logan counties. 6 people were killed, including 2 children in Tennessee. 62 people were injured.
Here in Kentucky, the National Weather Service says that very same system did spawn a tornado in southern Bowling Green. Preliminary reports show that that one was an EF1 with winds of up to 90 miles per hour. It uprooted trees, flinging branches onto rooftops and leaving debris scattered around the Bowling Green area. This weekend also marked the 2-year memorial of the deadly tornado outbreak that hit this area of Kentucky. Well, that weather system that had people taking cover right on the Kentucky-Tennessee line now made its way up to the northeast United States.
ABC's Rena Roy has the latest on the severe weather in the northeast and the cleanup efforts down south.
A dangerous storm hounding parts of the Northeast, with up to 5 inches of rain falling across the region. The system coming from the south, where at least 29 tornadoes were reported across 7 states this weekend. Tennessee hit especially hard. At least 6 people, including 2 children, were killed across the state. Over 30 more injured. Survivors mourning their lost loved ones.
I'm thankful that we're all alive, but what hurts me more than anything is he lost his life.
Clarksville, Tennessee, seeing an EF3 tornado with winds reaching 150 miles per hour.
We just got hit with a tornado. I saw it last minute.
You can see the tornado ripping through the area, debris flying in the air, buildings flattened in a matter of minutes.
Oh my gosh, everything's gone.
In Springfield, Chris Jones capturing the moment a tornado struck his workplace.
Get down, get down, get down, get down, get down.
It was just like so surreal that this was happening. Instinct kicked in, everyone down. The roof started collapsing.
A twister, a powerful EF2 with 125-mile-an-hour winds, hitting this Nashville church with dozens of people inside. Some suffering broken bones and legs. The church destroyed, but everyone made it out.
I get to say good morning to our loved ones again.
Now that the storm is heading out of here, the cold is settling in. Parts of the Northeast already seeing up to 8 inches of snow, and in Tennessee, they'll be dealing with below freezing morning temperatures as they clean up from those tornadoes. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
It's so typical after weather like that moves out. We're now in calm conditions. Another gorgeous sunset in Kentuckiana here as we had really cold weather come right back on this Monday.
It feels a lot different than what we had as we were ending last week. Colleen, is this cold sticking around here for a minute?
Only for a minute. I think we're going to warm up tomorrow afternoon with some more seasonable weather. Yes, we are staying in the 40s today. Plenty of sunshine after a very wet, cloudy weekend. Right now, temperatures hovering in the 40s. It does feel a little bit colder than the temperatures, but right now we're clocking in 43 in Louisville, 41 in Fort Knox, and it does feel like the 20s out there in some spots in northern Indiana. In the low to mid 30s is what it feels like when we factor in that wind chill. So radar is nice and clear. Beautiful sunny skies across the state of Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, and it's going to stay quiet. We really have a dead period here for the next week of not really seeing too much happening rain-wise. So it's good that we clocked in a few inches over the weekend because it's a dry spell that we have for your week ahead. This evening, temperatures are going to fall into the 30s. Right around 7 o'clock, sitting in the upper 30s. But remember, wind chills will be in the low 30s overnight tonight. So even though our lows are in the low 30s, plan for wind chills in the 20s tomorrow morning. Milder temperatures as we head towards the afternoon. We're actually going to get to the low 50s. Nashville might even get close to the 60s. So good news for their neighborhood or surrounding communities as they continue to recover from the tornado outbreak. So we are seeing some clear skies right now across Kentuckiana. I'll talk about what temperatures you can expect coming up.
All right, Colleen, thank you so much. Right here at 5 o'clock, there appears to be a division amongst Kentucky Republicans on a bill to temporarily remove guns from citizens in mental health crisis.
This Friday, a committee hearing in Frankfort is being held where families impacted by mass shootings will be in attendance. Senior reporter Isaiah Kim Martinez and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton show us the key sticking points for one lawmaker.
The CAR Act is seen by some as a common ground among Republicans and Democrats to do something to prevent mass shootings and suicides. But already, days before the bill is supposed to be introduced, there's already reservations from some lawmakers. CAR stands for Crisis Aversion and Rights Retention. The bill, championed by a Republican and getting bipartisan support, would allow law enforcement to temporarily remove guns from people deemed a threat to themselves or others. But it wouldn't happen without a court order and the person themselves getting a chance to make their case for keeping the weapon.
Whether you call it a red flag or an ERPO, at a bare minimum, it has the potential to violate at least 3 constitutional rights.
Infringing upon the right to bear arms and due process are the concerns for Republican State Representative Savannah Maddox, a staunch conservative and former candidate for governor who's at times distanced herself from others in the GOP.
In addition to the potential to violate due process, I think that we're also talking about a rebuttal of the presumption of innocence, which is something that is well enshrined in our American legal system.
Maddox believes CAR would compromise those values, which she says is a non-starter. Now, as to whether her views will be echoed by other lawmakers in the committee hearing is to be seen Friday. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.
We are also told a couple of different versions of the car bill will be talked about on Friday. Republican state lawmakers from Louisville are set to introduce the Safer Kentucky Act as well. It's a multi-part proposal of policies to tackle this city's violence.
New tonight at 5, former Kentucky Governor and State Representative Julian Carol has died at the age of 92. Carol's family confirmed his death, saying he passed early Sunday morning at Frankfort Regional Medical Center. Carol served 5 terms in the Kentucky House of Representatives, including Speaker of the House. He was then elected Lieutenant Governor, eventually succeeding Wendell Ford. He won a full term as governor in 1975. Carol later served as a state senator from 2004 to 2020.
A new report from the Wall Street Journal over the weekend reported that Cigna has called off its merger with Humana in Louisville, saying the 2 large health insurance companies could not come to an agreement on pricing and other financial terms. Humana, of course, is homegrown in Louisville and employs 11,000 people. Both companies were in talks about a possible merger before the end of the year, coming up here in the next few weeks. However, the Wall Street Journal now says concerns grew among shareholders after Cigna's stock dropped 10%. We also contacted Humana and Cigna for comment on this news. Humana told us they did not have a comment.